When I was applying to colleges, I was interested in the Rhode Island School of Design. I went to an open house. It was like they were trying to scare people away by saying how intense it was and how much work you'd have to do, and I was just getting more and more excited. You're in and out of everybody's studio spaces, and it just has a cool way of influencing what you're doing in a way that's really unexpected. When I'm weaving or painting, there's this just slow repetitiveness or just this gradual visual progress that's happening that slows my mind down, slows my thoughts down, and just this pleasure in creating that I feel that connects me with God. Like, he's so creative, and I think he just has created so much out of pleasure, just for delight and for good. I feel his pleasure when I create. Like, when I want to pray but don't have words, sometimes just creating and just making something with my hands feels like a prayer. So after my daughter was born, I started having these really disturbing, really difficult thoughts that would pop into my head. And I felt like I was going crazy. Like, I felt like something was really wrong with me. I ended up finding out that it was a really normal thing that happens to a lot of moms with little babies. But it really shook me, and it made me so afraid to, to think of having another baby. There was one day in particular where I was having a really hard time, and I was praying that morning for God to speak to me, and in some kind of big way. Like, I just really wanted to hear from him. And I remember loading the dishwasher and saying, God, I don't know if I can do this again. And maybe I'll adopt or foster, but I don't know if I can ever do this again. And my sister-in-law called. She shared with me about how she had been hearing from God for other people. And so I just asked her to pray for me, and I didn't tell her anything about what I had been thinking or feeling. And she started praying, and all of a sudden she said, God's telling me that you're gonna have another baby. And that you're gonna carry the baby, like, specifically. She said the pregnancy will be full of joy and hope. I lost it. I was just bawling the whole rest of the time. She said, I see you guys, I see 4 of you like inside of a heart hugging. It was this moment of just feeling so seen by God, so loved and cared for. Kind of throughout the next couple years of healing and getting to a place of being ready for more kids, I would think about that all the time and have something to hold on to. I got pregnant, and then the next week the pandemic started. And that totally changed my life, everybody's life, and I found myself so slowed down. My life was so slowed down, and I never would have guessed a pandemic brought me into a peaceful life and a lot of therapy and learning how to change some of my thought habits. I have more peace in my life, in my mind now, than I ever have. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about nature and science, and just learning so much about all these hidden benefits in these natural, sunlight, or just the sensory experience of being in nature, that just feels like gifts, like God has designed it for our good. You can learn a lot about a person from their art, so being in nature feels like I'm just immersed in His creation, and feels like I'm spending time with Him or learning more about Him through just being outside. And that slows my mind down a lot too, and calms me, soothes me, which is something that I need daily. And my son is just so tied to this story, both of them, to this story of God speaking and caring for me and providing in ways that I needed Him so much, and I couldn't change by myself.